Today, I want to talk about why I am happier with my car collection than Iron Man. For those that don't know, Robert Downey Jr. is the actor who plays Iron Man in the Marvel movies, and he's known to have a very, very large car collection of very expensive vehicles. Now, on the surface, this might sound very absurd to you, and I can see why some people would see things that way. For one, Robert Downey Jr. does have about 20 to 30, maybe 40 cars, whereas I have one. All the cars that he has are much more expensive, much more expensive. They're much faster. They're probably much nicer, and they're much more comfortable to ride in, is what I would imagine. Yet I am still insisting that I appreciate my car collection of one vehicle more than he could possibly appreciate all the vehicles that he has, and that's for a very good reason. In economics, we have this concept known as diminishing marginal utility, and it plays a very important role in how businesses sell their products and how consumers buy products on the market today. For a simple analogy, let's assume that you're hungry and you decide, I want to have pizza, so I'm going to go to the nearby pizza store and buy myself some pizza to eat it. Now, when you go to the pizza store, you're really, really hungry, so you think to yourself, I'm going to have at least four slices of pizza because you're very hungry. Now, the reality is that when you have that first bite of the slice of pizza, the first one tastes amazing, especially that first bite, and pay attention to this bit. So, the first bite of that pizza is amazing. You absolutely love this thing. And as you get through it, it's still delicious, and you get to the end of it and it's done. Now, when you start slice number two, 100% of the time, the first bite of that second slice of pizza will not be anywhere near as good as that first slice was. And this is just a reality of how we consume products as a whole. And this concept can apply to anything, it's not just pizza. The first can of Coke is going to taste better than your second one. Your first sip of beer is going to taste better than your second one. The first house that you buy on your own will feel much more precious to you and give you a greater sense of fulfillment and contentment than, say, your fifth house. The first dog that you buy for your family, as terrible as it sounds, will give you a much greater sense of happiness and satisfaction as opposed to the fifth dog that joins a family that already has four dogs. This is just the way happiness works in human beings, and this applies to all the products that we have at our home today. And so, what I'm trying to get at is that having one instance of an item that is near and dear to your heart will give you a much greater sense of happiness and contentment and satisfaction than you could have if you had, say, a collection of those items of 10, 20, 30, or even more, to the point that you can't actually remember what things you had if they all went missing. Now, what's interesting about the way this works is that this one item that you love having does not have to be the best kind of item that can exist. Say, you got a dog for your family. That first dog that you got, you absolutely love the shit out of that dog. It's not going to be the smartest dog in the world. It's not going to do the best tricks in the world. And it might not even be the bravest dog in the world. It doesn't have to be. The quality of this item or thing or person that is in your life, the enjoyment you get from them is not contingent on their quality relative to other instances of that same type of person, thing, or object. And so, what that means is, as long as you have something that you truly enjoy, you will have happiness from that one instance of a thing that you have than someone could possibly have if they have many instances of that same thing in a collection that's worth several times what you have in terms of the dollar value that someone would pay to acquire it. Because we're not measuring your enjoyment or the happiness that you get and how much it costs to get these things in the first place. And so the moral of the story here is that you will get a greater sense of fulfillment out of having one instance of something that you'll love instead of trying to pursue acquiring as many instances of that thing as possible, which is going to be a very costly endeavor. And in the end, it might not make you as happy as you're hoping to be. And if Robert Downey Jr. happens to be watching this, I would be perfectly thrilled to have you come over and I'll give you a ride in my car to show you what true happiness is like.